are so happy to be here. We are absolutely delighted to be in a place to understand what it takes to build an economy that's from the middle out rather than the top down, to build a place that's going to have schools for our kids and clean air for our kids to breathe. And I'm in a few minutes going to introduce someone who understands what it takes to be President of the United States. And I can tell you this, I have agreed with President Bill Clinton on a lot of things. They need to deal with climate change. They need to increase working wages. They need to have a stable system of our economy and a fair economy. But what I really agree with him is that we're going to elect Hillary Clinton as next President of the United States. I've known this woman since 1992, and I can tell you that she has both the fire in her heart and the steel in her back to do what we need to do to move this country forward. And I have seen her time and time again when the opponents have thrown every single bit of hatred and anger that they can manage, and have her sit there and rise again and call us to the better angels of our nature. And we need her now more than we ever have. We understand that we need someone who's the full meal deal, and I have seen it. We have got health care. We've moved forward on health care. We're not done on health care, but I think it's good to have the person who started the health care effort in this country. Done trying to give our children safety from gun violence. I think it's a good thing to have a person who's been working on this since 1994. I think it's good to be in the state of Washington this year who's going to pass an initiative raising our minimum wage at the same time we're electing a president who wants to do it all across America.
Bernie.
And I say this because rarely you get a leader that can combine the fire of compassion with the steel of experience. And she has that. She started her career with passion for young people, trying to get them early child education. So I'm glad she's in Washington that this year made the biggest step forward in early education in the history of our state.
Bernie.
All of that compassion for working people, all that compassion for kids has been combined with the steel of experience and the steel of strength. And we know we need that more than ever, because we know that we need someone to beat a candidate of the other party who is trying to appeal to the basest, lowest emotions of Americans. We have a candidate who will appeal to the highest emotions of America. With her here in the state of Washington, I'm confident that we can build a wall around the state of Washington and keep Donald Trump out. I'm ready to elect her, and I want to ask you, are you going to bring a friend to the caucuses here next week? And will you do that? Friends don't caucus alone. Bring a friend next weekend, and we can elect Hillary Clinton. And now I'm going to give you the president. I'm going to give you a president who was president the last time we reduced income inequality in the United States. And she's going to help to do it the next time.
You put 1 million black people in jail for drugs. Mass incarceration.
know what they say about all of that.
Hello, Vancouver. I want to thank my longtime friend, Governor Jay Inslee, who, among other things, has written one of the best books anybody has written on the potential of the United States to become the clean energy superpower of the world, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, well, simultaneously transporting.
Thank you, Senator Ned Cleveland, for your remarks. Thank you, Representative Sharon Wiley and Jim Mueller. And thank you, Mayor Tim Levitt, for welcoming me to Vancouver. I just got the pleasure of dealing with the traffic congestion for I was down there because today, the governor of Oregon endorsed Hillary for president. I'm really grateful to all the leaders here that Hillary's worked with over the years, Senator Patty Murray, Senator Maria Cantwell, the 6 members of our party in the Washington congressional delegation. I thank them all for their support, and all the local leaders and legislators. They join people who have now been called members of the establishment if they vote for Hillary. The establishment now includes the Human Rights Campaign, Planned Parenthood, most of the major teachers' unions, most of the major construction unions in the country, industrial unions, the Congressional Black Caucus, 2 leading Latino organizations in the country. If that's the establishment, I want to be part of it. But my number 1 job here is to plead with you all in the caucus, because it's not all that easy. This year it is easier for people who have to work or are sick because of the provisional ballots. Now, we've mailed out 50,000 of those.
Mailed 50,000 of them.
The opponent's campaign has too. And yet, only a few thousand have been mailed in. If you know anyone who supports Hillary, who can't be there, please get them a provisional ballot. Please go. Please know that between now and the time of the caucus, you will pass somewhere between 20 and 50 people you know that you might be able to drag there. We need more bodies at the caucus. The second thing is, every caucus has to have a leader, because each candidate will have someone stand up and give a 3-minute talk. We need more people to give those 3-minute talks in every single caucus site in the state of Washington. So we need your help. Look, this election, many elections come down to what people think it's about. And I see Washington prospering, I see the low unemployment rate, I see your success in selling products made here all around the world, not just big airplanes, but more than 160 other small companies, creating thousands and thousands of jobs, selling things that most people wouldn't imagine could be sold. This is really the only state in the country that's doing what the Germans do in mass, using small and medium-sized enterprises to make sure they sell at home and abroad. And you should be really proud of that.
Ooh, he just compared Washington to Germany.
But I'd like to put this in the context of, you know, the story Jay told about building a wall around Washington. I'm still trying to figure out how the Mexicans are going to pay for it, but anyway. The reason it's important to know what the election's about is you don't want to hit the wrong target. Like when the candidate for the Republican nomination said he wants to build a wall across the Rio Grande River, he is not only wrong in bad economics, but he shooting at the wrong target. Undocumented immigration from Mexico into the United States peaked more than 5 years ago.
there are actually fewer undocumented Mexicans in America today than there were then. And that's not what this election's about. It's not how upset people are. So let's start with the President's last State of the Union address. Did you hear it, any of you? Let me give you the short version. Give me a minute, because it's worth doing. And the President was proud, and he has a right to be. He's done a better job than many people give him credit for. Here's basically what he said. I know we still have significant problems, but you should not be afraid of the future. You shouldn't be afraid of the future first, because the United States is already outperforming every other big economy in the world. We have 14 million jobs in just the last 5 years. That's the fastest job growth we've had since that other Democrat, whatever his name was, president. For the first time in our history, we have slightly more than 90% of our people with health insurance. That has never happened before. But if you look to the future, it's better. I mean, look around this room. We have the youngest, most diverse workforce of any big country in the world. We have the best system of education and training. Look at this institution, where we are right now. One of my rules of politics is, if America works the way community colleges did, we'd have about 90% fewer problems. Think about it. It's all about creative cooperation. It's open to everybody. Nobody cares what your age, your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, nothing. Your religion, it's open to everybody. It's constantly changing to meet the needs of the future. And it's getting more creative all the time. You've got 1,800 high school students getting college credits here. Lots of other things. Why? It's about...
Can't afford to go to university, that's why.
Where everybody has a chance to succeed.
Then I hear free tuition.
So, and he said, and by the way, every scientific study shows, our party still believes in science, that the United States ranks first or second in the world in the capacity to generate electricity from the sun, the wind, and other renewable resources. And that is going to be an unbelievable advantage as we move into an era where more and more people will have to stop denying climate change and start doing something about it. He said, don't be afraid. He painted this beautiful picture. Why has this been kind of an unusual year? Because so many Americans at this moment in time look at that pretty picture and they can't find themselves in it or their children in it to save their lives. Why is that? Because it takes 10 full years on average to get over a severe financial collapse. And keep in mind, on the day before that financial crash in 2008, more than half the American people, after inflation, were already living on less than they were the day I left office. Because we went back to trickle-down economics and no oversight, no enforcement of trade laws, no enforcement of financial laws, nothing. And I think that was the proximate cause of the crash. So here we are, 8 years later, we're beating the historical average in job creation, but we're still lagging in incomes rising. And so that explains why there are so many people who are so upset. It also explains why the areas that were already left out and left behind feel more left out and left behind. And insofar as there are small towns and rural areas, not coincidentally, they also have the highest rates of prescription drug and heroin abuse in the United States. So you've got a lot of people who look at that picture and it makes them angry or anxious. You have young people who graduate from college with debt they're not sure they can repay. They can't move out of their parents' house because they can't make the debt payment and pay rent. You got kids in college who wonder if the same things are going to happen to them. And so the first question is, do you believe, as I do, what the president said? I do believe that. Now, if you believe that, then it's okay to feel angry and disenfranchised, but it's a poor way to make a decision. You got to make a decision based on how we can all rise together. Hillary is running for president to put every American in the picture that was painted in the paper.
No, unless you work for Walmart.
To do it, we got to maximize our opportunities and then tear down the barriers that keep people from participating in them. Here are the basic opportunities. Number one, we can create
I heard enough.